Well, let's have a look at Sebring, of course, in Florida, USA. Round number 9 coming your way back to the sprint configuration, 150 kilometres. It's going to be fast. We go back to a mere 25 laps this week, which is nothing compared to what we've been doing lately. But big track, long distance, and there's plenty of things to throw at this one. Dan, run us through it.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. So we're looking at 5.9 kilometres or 3.7 miles for the guys abroad. 17 turns. It is a very bumpy, technical, fast-flowing circuit built on a former US Air Force base. It still holds the concrete pads that they ran on those runways down both the front straight and the back straight. So a lot of work for the cars and suspension and for the setup engineers to dial those in to get them right. The big one's going to be down into turn 1 off the start. It's a very wide, fast sweeping turn, but you've got to be cautious because you want to kiss that wall on entry. Look out for the dirt on the exit. Very easy to make a meal of that one. And we have seen in some past events, some guys just run a little wide and upset the car as a result of that. The big ones to keep an eye on, the run down through to turn 4, down into the hairpin. There is plenty of opportunity to get a pass completed, but you've got to be cautious. There's a big bump on the traditional racing line, so we might see the cars just a little bit off before they tip in and work their way through. Following that, the next big chance for a pass that we're going to potentially see these guys into will be the run through 10, 11, 12, and 13. If you can manage to get the car alongside, you can slot one down the inside, get a good run, and set yourself up for the long run down the back straight, heading towards turn 17, the famous sunset bend. It's super tricky. There's about 4 or 5 lines that you can actually take to get yourself through there. Plenty of passing opportunity, but the bumps on the inside are key, and getting the car to ride and settle over that is going to be really, really tricky to do. But if you can get it there, you can look to get a move done. Following that, keep an eye out. Pit entry, very tricky. You've got to keep the car right over to the right-hand side through the mid-corner of 17, pull it across to the lane. And if you're side-by-side with someone and you get pushed, you expect to be doing one more lap to get through.
Well, Briggsy, you had a look at this already. I know you've done a couple of laps there. What are going to be some of the challenges you're going to face as a driver out there?
Yeah, keeping off the curbs through the turns 2, 3, 4 sort of complex, and big braking zones, big passing zones. The hairpin into off the turn 5 complex. There's also then turn 7 as well, which is a big braking zone as well. And the last corner is massive overtaking area as well. So yeah, it's probably going to be a fair share of sends and a fair share of defense. So it's going to be an exciting race in 25 laps, I'm sure.
Well, we spoke a bit earlier about the tyres and the impact that's changed with the new build. Do you think that's going to have a bit of an effect on this race as well?
Yeah, Sebring's got an odd surface. It's mainly concrete. So it's always a bit odd for setup, and I'm sure this will be no different.
I'm sure you're not giving away any team secrets, but yeah, the new build, hopefully you can get your head around this one and get a few laps in, and maybe, get us up past that 3 and 5 we've seen you previously. But, if we want to have a look at the track, the best time to do it's now, of course, all thanks to Pure Driving School. We get out there and we get a lap done by Mr. Norrie over here. And this week, mate, did someone actually want to lend you the keys, or did you struggle to find a car this week?
It was slim pickings down this garage at Sebring. There was no garage door that was open or welcoming to me. They all told me to get lost. So I begged and begged and begged, and Dan Lead actually threw me the keys to one of the Dakota cars. So here's that lap. G'day everyone and welcome this week to Norrie's Navigation. We're here at Sebring for the AOSC, and I've borrowed one of the Kota Sim sports cars, and it's a massive stitch up thanks to Daniel Leap on one of the old VFs. So let's have a bit of a spin around Sebring. Diving it down into turn 1, you want to be hard on the brakes and try and get as close to that wall as you can on the inside. Don't hit it though, because you want to use all that exit coming out of the road on the right. Diving down deep into turn 3 and around on the curb, left, right and left again. Bit of slide on exit as you want to get all maximum throttle down to make the nice long run down to turn 7. It's a tight hairpin that's coming up, so you really got to watch your entry and exit speed. All the way down to first gear, turn it in and short to second to try and minimize wheel spin on your way out. Hold it flat through 8, 9 and 10. We work our way around to 11, back again, down to second and get the car tipped in. A little bit of curb on the right, try and use something on the left as well as we go around the sweeping corner here, and then we dart back down to another right-hander, back to second, a little bit of curb on the left, a little bit of curb on the right and on the left as well on the exit. Now you want to build up the speed, run our final part of the run here, moving towards the back end of the circuit. Back down to second gear as we tip into this penultimate corner as we turn right and find ourselves back on the massively long straight here at Sebring. Using all the gears, all the speed, all the rev as we're making our way to the actual penultimate corner. This is the last one. It's a long sweeping hairpin, and it takes some talent to get this one right. You got to dart it in, turning and braking at the same time. These supercars don't like that, but you make it around there in one piece, build up the revs and cross the line. You should be a fairly decent 206 lap time after that one. And Dan, because of the stitch up, I might keep the car.
Norrie, I'm impressed. I don't know how many laps you had to do so you could get that good one in, but I noticed that doesn't look like Dan's current car.
No, I was completely stitched up. I thought I was getting a current gen car, and he throws me in something they've had since probably 2003.
Dan, there was one reason you lent it to him, though, wasn't it? You weren't going to give him the latest and greatest.
Well, yeah, look, for sure. I mean, we've seen what he's capable of doing last time out at Watkins. He's a magnet for the wall, and we didn't really want to damage the car before we went into race weekend. But it's good to get the old girl out. We did give her a bit of a tune-up before you got into it, so thanks for dusting the cobwebs out.
All right, Briggsy, we've gone around there now. You had a bit of a look. There's going to be a couple of really key overtaking areas on this one, and turn number 7 is going to be one of those. Take us through that. What are your concerns there?
Yeah, so it's deep under brakes. It's easily too wide. There's a bump on the apex, and the exit is straight into another corner. So if you get down the inside there, you've got to get the move done and done early. Otherwise, the person you're passing can hold you too wide for the next set of turns and just drag out the passing action right through to turn 10, essentially. So you've got to get in there. You've got to be decisive. You've got to get it done and watch that bump on the inside.
Well, yeah, it is another little area. It's probably going to be very interesting to see if that will cause a few issues for some of the drivers there, especially in the opening lap. That's normally where we see most of the carnage happen. All right, Norrie, though, what is the pit stop strategy? Where are we going this week? What are we doing? How's it all going to unfold?
Well, take your Enduro driver and throw them out, because you're not going to need that strategy anymore. I don't want any jokes about my driving. It's about 17 laps per tank, and it's only a 25-lap race, so there's not too much distance in it. One pit stop, fuel tires, and send it. You might want to do it early though, because having a late pit stop, it might be a reason to have drama. So get it out of the way early and get it done.
All right, there you go. And some of the questions we do have to ask. Safety car, bets on it. Dan, what is the bet this week?
Absolutely.
Norrie?
I'm not driving, so it might not happen.
Briggsy, what do you reckon? Safety car?
2.
2. You got 2. Yes. All right. Safety car is we're all going to say we're going to get one. It's going to be an interesting track. I think turn number 7 is probably where it is probably going to happen in the first couple of laps. That's my prediction. First 5 laps, we're going to see one, and it's going to be an instant. Either, I reckon, maybe 3, 4, 5 or turn 7 might be the other one. Interestingly enough, we did see Cooper Webster and James Scott come together earlier in the season on that final lap, and we've got a nice long right-hander there in turn number 17 before we head back onto the main straight. So that's going to be another interesting one if someone wants to take a big dive down that back straight. Can't wait to see what's going to happen at Sebring. Briggsy, mate, thanks for joining us on the panel here this week. It's been fantastic having you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Dan, Norrie, we got anything else left to say about Sebring?
No, I'm looking forward to it, mate. Cannot wait to see how the guys work their way around.
It'd be interesting to be back on this side of the camera, but let's hope there's a good round coming forward and get out of Sebring as soon as possible.
Hello and welcome to round 9 of the
All right, so I have Wi-Fi hotspot on my phone, so I've got Discord. Yeah, I'm not getting anything.
G'day everyone and welcome to the AOSC, having some technical difficulties here in the booth. You've got Norrie back with Daniel Leeton, Matty Kavanagh and Nick Hughes producing the show. And we're here back at Sebring for this round of the AOSC. It's race 184 of season 10. Got qualifying underway at the moment, and topping the timesheets at the moment is James Scott on a 159.47. He's got Shepherd, Rudd, Dyson, Briggs, Hobson, Dodd, Ross, Smart and Varga all lining up the 10 there. And they're still counting down the last couple of minutes of qualifying. While we get into this, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Good, so it's Pure Driving School, Track Camps for Gourmet, Jinx Shifters, and all the rest. This is Corey Shepherd exiting the lane. Currently 400ths off, about 300ths off provisional pole sitter James Scott. Mr. Antenna's car looking resplendent. The O2 in front was the car I was in last week, and it's looking a bit better now that I'm not driving it this week. This is Dylan Rudd. He's currently got some purple sector in sector 6. So we'll see if he goes a bit faster on this lap. No improve. Let's have a look down the field. Adam Briggs. Briggs, you joined us on the pre-show this week and spoke about this circuit in depth. Bit of a slide off the final corner there.
You're just scrolling through the times here, Norrie, just trying to find someone who's on a decent lap. We've got Brenton Hobson about to come through and complete a lap, currently sitting in P6. Let's see if he can make an improvement on that. No, he doesn't.
No improve for Hobson. Looking up the sector board, there's a few greens and purples up there, but they're all just biding their time, circulating, and most of the field have just folded out for an outlap. So they'll be pressing on with their actual lap as we get closer to the end of this qualifying session. Temperature up on your screen now, 24 degrees on the circuit.
And that'll just keep cooling down, Norrie. We're late afternoon here at the moment, so the track will be super fast at the end of qualifying. So we might have a couple of magic minutes towards the end when the leaderboard really lights up as everyone goes out for their final run tonight.
And I suppose that's one of the best things about Sebring as a circuit is that it's pretty open, there's no shadows, so the main track cooling is what's going to give the drivers the extra grip that they need to set those Hollywood numbers.
Corey Shepherd here just set a purple in Sector 1.
So let's stick with Corey as he progresses on this lap, giving a flash of the lights to one of the tanked SRT cars as they part way and give him a ride through. Hard braking right down to first, and you've really got to maximise braking to that apex. Short shift off that one and minimise your wheel spin. Corey is obviously a pro at it because he's quite up there on the timesheets. It's phenomenal to see. We've got about 34 cars here tonight at Sebring, so quite a sizable field to get around. It's fantastic. Sebring's quite a large circuit, so they won't condense themselves too much unless it's the race start.
Oh, he's lost his time there.
Well,
Was on a good lap, but just blew it at the end there. Dylan Rudd, he's gone up to P3 in the meantime.
so Rudd's moved up to P3.
So Corey Shepherd's gone out again to have another crack at it. The DPR boys there sitting in 4th and 5th. Andrew Dyson coming around to complete a lap.
I'm saying that Bailey Freed's just pulled into the lane, as has Bradley Vaughan. So I'm not sure why they're pulling into the lane this late in the session, but let's stick with the guys who are putting the fast laps down. This is Corey Shepherd, and he is this is probably this lap that he wants to get himself psyched up, get himself up to speed, up to temp, and probably cracking on with his at the moment. Just seeing if I look up and down the sector boards for you. As you can see on the timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen, most of our drivers are on and out laps, so there's not a lot lighting up the sector boards. Corey's just pulled off again, finding himself a bit of track space.
Having a look there for Corey, he's got to be careful because there's a few guys behind him. If he can let the car in 19th position, which is Michael Talianchis at the moment, get through, he's going to have a nice clear run. He can afford to drop off a little bit as they get through into sunset.
Yeah, I thought it was Stovall, but yeah, you're right there, Dan. It was a Talianchis. This is James Scott. He is sitting at the top of the times at the moment. Earlier stated a 159.470, so it's a long way off the 206 I did in my Norrie navigation lap. Fair bit of time to find, obviously, in the VF to the ZB.
Absolutely. He's put down a cracking standstill for these guys to chase on. I mean, we saw in the pre-qual session just prior to this server going live that the guys in the second server got very, very close. So there wasn't a huge disparity in the time, but we're already seeing 3.5 tenths of a second to the likes of Corey, who, as you were saying before, Norrie, was just about to get underway for his hot lap. So hopefully he can start to shave some time off on that one. But it's a very big opening gap between first and the rest of the field so far.
Absolutely, and this is that fast lap that Corey Shepherd was embarking on as we left him at the other side of the circuit to watch James Scott. This is a hot lap. Got a couple of NSR cars in the top 5, so fantastic from those boys to be this far up the field. Dylan Rudd and Aaron Dodd doing a fantastic job in the 990 and the 737.
Yeah, it's a really strong qualifying result for those guys so far. Both of those cars, though, still are back in the lane, so haven't come out for another run. But we already got Brian Borg here, who we're having a quick look at on screen, yet to set a competitive time so far in this session. We'll see what he's able to do as he flicks in towards Sunset Bend. Car looking pretty stable as he gets through there. A little bit of work over the bumps, but doesn't look too bad, especially on the corner exit.
I think he's done a livery tweak as far as I can see there. The thing looks pretty resplendent and he'll be happy with it because it would have moved him up the field.
Yeah, guys, have a look at Taliancic down there. He's just moved himself up into 19. Sorry, I am back with you guys, and great to be back on board here for race number 9. Here, of course, Sebring. We're over halfway in the series, and Michael Taliancic just going through at the moment, just checking out. He's got some green sector times there, so he's doing all right compared to his time. Corey Shepherd, watch out for him because we did see him in the practice sessions earlier, very fast.
Yeah, they're all very quick. We just touched on that a moment ago, and Corey's got a fair bit of work now as the checkered flag comes out. If he wants to try and get up in there, he did sort of purple on his previous lap out there, so he was very good through sector 2, but a lot of work still to do to try and close the gap. He wasn't quite there, but he took 2.5 tenths off his time, so he's now only a tenth of a second behind James Scott. That's a hell of a lap to put through right on the closing stages.
It was quite orderly how they all crossed the line and lined up in a single file there, so well done.
Brad Vaughan going to come across the line. Hasn't made a great lap this one. Some green sectors through 2, 3 and 4 there. We'll see what he's able to do as he gets across the line, and that will put him into 14th position, just under a second behind our leaders. And James Scott still out there circulating. Troy Maguire for Type Esports putting a lap on. He's coming up into the mid phase of the circuit here now.
Is that difficult part of 11 and 12 where you've got to get the car really balanced off the corner.
Yeah, it's a really tough thing to try and balance that car, especially as you take the transition back into the old tarmac sections. We're watching now down through Le Mans there, using all the curb and then some to set up for a nice run. Track's right out wide, so trying to carry maximum speed as he goes through.
So it should be a fairly good lap. The timing screen has got the session as checkered, so it'll be one of our final laps across the board before we get into tonight's race. And as he comes across the line, we'll get our provision, or not our provisional, they will be our results. They are our standings fully. There's a nice, fantastic lock-up at the end there. No improvement for Troy Maguire, unfortunately. So let's get our grid up on screen for you.
Well, we'll get that loaded up, Norrie, but yeah, some fantastic efforts there from the guys. Like we said, they would come on strong in the last bit. Unfortunately, we didn't see the times we probably expected there. With James Scott, looks like he's number 1 again, 1:59.47, so super fast. Corey Shepherd in P2 there, 0.1 of a second behind him. Then it's back to the second row, Dylan Rudd and Jordan Ross. So the Synergy guys starting to come on. Next, it's Aaron Dodd and Kyle Stokes on the third row, Andrew Dyson and Adam Briggs, row 4. Brenton Hobson and Tom Freer, row 5. Row 6 will see Damien Johnson alongside Bailey Frid. Row 7, Thomas Hinds alongside Bradley Vaughan. Keep going. It's Michael Taliancic all the way back on the 8th row with Christian Smart. So watch out for those guys to have a bit of a battle. Stephen Varga in 17 with Reece Keane alongside in 18. Rob Bowden and Neil Pearson in row number 10. Brian Borg, surprising to see him that far back in 21. Alongside him, Michael Barron, Wade Sheedy and Craig Ansbach, 23 and 24. 25 and 26 will be Darren McKenzie and Greg Sharp. Then it's Rob Harris on row number 14 alongside Troy Maguire. Jaden Borg in position 29 with Jamie Dyke alongside in 30. Chris Barnes in 31. Marty Hanson 32. Dave Douglas 33. Matthew Brunt alongside in 34. Then it's position 35 Scott Weston. 36 is Craig Healy running out our runners. And of course our safety car there at the back, which could be out any time, the Jinx Shifters safety car. And if you watch the pre-race show, you do know we have put bets on that we will have them, boys. We're going to have a safety car.
Well, we're expecting to see one there. We're just waiting on James Scott now to take to the grid. But the bigger first opportunity definitely is the guys work their way down through turn 1. Got to keep an eye out on that inside wall. We know that we could potentially see a few guys hit it. Then the big one will be down into turn 7 as everyone tries to make their way through that hairpin.
Yeah. It's gonna be a long way good. So remember, the restart is the final corner as they come around turn number 17 and back onto the main track. That's where they can restart the race. And now, if James Scott can stay in front, see what happens. We go green and the man wags his flag. James Scott gets it away. Shepherd in second as they come down that front straight. Bit of a challenge there though in third place is that Rudd now just puts the nose in front. You can see up on the timing screen, so they're going to battle it out as they go into that first corner, and it's a left-hander. Rudd will get the run there, and it looks like he's going to hold on to that position. We take this camera shot now.
The car's going around the back.
Yeah, look at them. They're too wide as they come around. This is going to be interesting as they go through here. Rudd, Shepherd, they keep exchanging that. They're not going to give up on this fight.
Everyone towards the front end making a really good run for it. Dylan Rudd, fantastic jump off the line. Nearly got the nose through on Corey Shepherd, who's now managed to get back in towards that 7. But saw a little bit of action in the back end of the field. The rest of the field is starting to work their way through. Michael Barron involved in that. He's already dropped 10 spots for him. Rob Harris also involved in it as well, and continuing to fall down. But everyone down into 7 at the moment, starting to work their way through, and the field's now really getting into single file.
So James Scott just opening up a tiny little bit of a gap there at the moment. As you can see, just holds onto that one. Just 1 second over Corey Shepherd. Rudd and him having a little bit of a battle. There's Ross, Briggs, they're all coming together now. 2 wide still as we head around this track. It's all happening. Scott, though, opening up a nice little lead. He's going to be really careful on this track. That transition where you go from bitumen to concrete. Grab everyone, especially the brakes, the building the car. They're all going wide. You can see one wheel off, but they hold on to it.
Sort of moment there too, one of the Taipan cars having a bit of a wiggle as they came up towards turn 11 there, and I think managing to fall back in line. But now everyone in the single file as they work in toward Le Mans, with brakes still being snatched as they work their way in. This will be the first run down the back straight. How everyone works through turn 17 will be very interesting to see. We've already got one of the cars. I think that's Dylan Rudd getting a slowdown, and he's going to lose a fistful of positions.
Yeah, I was looking at that, wondering why he was actually going back in the field. We saw Roscoe pass, Briggs, Dodd. I can see that coming up on our event screen. So that's unfortunate for him because he had a really good start there as well. So Scott now will open up 1 second. Corey Shepherd now a chance to just slip it behind him and try and kick that pace. That's really what it needs to do with Shepherd now. He hasn't got out of that fight. George Ross right behind. He's going to put some challenges on. Right now, though, we catch up with Varga. You can see him, he's holding off them. There's plenty going on here. There's Sharp, Anspatch, Harris, they're all around here. All in a bit of a fight here. Both have been super impressive too in race mode, hasn't he, Dan? I mean, we've seen him do some impressive things in the last couple of rounds. He seems to hold his own. Unfortunately, hasn't made up there. Oh, a bit of bump and grind now as they go through. Dakota Simsport entry there, giving him a bit of a run for his money as they head down through the pack.
Yeah, it's been a really good run so far for Anspatch and the tank cars. He has another moment with the Team Hyperdrive car. That's Darren McKenzie behind the wheel of that car, and just trying to hold his position right in behind there as well. We've got Jaden Borg and Rob Harris having a little scrap as they work into 7, but the tank car's looking pretty handy. There's one a little further back also in the field there as well, but look for them to progressively work their way up through. Very clean fighters as they go through the field.
Like number 13, we just saw Mac 1 Liver on, we saw Rob Harris, he's still on his wheels. That's good stuff. Zach Talianchit's a little bit sideways there, gets a bit twitchy there in the 777 car, but holds onto it. Unfortunately, though, he's going to come under Vaughn's a bit of attack now as he comes down the inside. Going to be looking for a run. Talianchit just getting that little bit loose, and it's what can really happen around this track. Is that Brian Borg just behind him, who's made a few positions up now to 17. He'll see if he can follow through with this one as well. He'll just be seeing if he can stay with him. Vaughan and Talianchit, they're 3 wide now. Borg, you're going to try and get 2 done at once. Thinks he's Van Gisbergen.
There's a great move from Borg. Keep an eye on Reece Keenan behind this as well. He's looking to set himself up with 2 teammates just tripping over themselves a little in the midfield, and just on cue. Rob Bowden now getting a sniff of this as well. He should be able to have one up the inside as he puts a move in there on Neil Pearson.
That around the outside though from Vaughan, that's a big move there. I'm just trying to watch this one because everything's sort of happening. Vaughan comes back in front of Borgie. He was on the inside line. Talianchit's not giving up on this one too, and rubbing is racing, and he's making sure he knows that he's there. All about track position at the moment. Vaughan around the outside there. Borgie down the inside though. It's normally a little bit of a wide run here. Talianchit needs to make sure he stays off the dirt. Vaughan though puts a couple of tires on. Now come together. Talianchit's Bowden. Oh no, he runs into Borg. The bad luck continues for the 017. Talianchit could not do anything about that. Borg, an unfortunate incident there, and just caught up in that incident. Talianchit and Bowden really getting into a little bit of a tussle there, and it looks like we've got a bit of a netcode contact there from car number 990 143 on lap 1. So that's just a netcode, no further action to happen there. The DPR boys though, we jump on board with these guys. Of course, that is Keane and Pearson at the moment. So Keane and Pearson getting around in, it's going to be a lap position 17 and 18 here as we check out the replay of what happened a little bit earlier here. Borgie in front, you can see that Bowden comes down, Tallianche gets there. Tallianche's got nothing to do, you know you're hard under brakes there, the car out of control, can't do anything about that, and Borgie, the unfortunate person on the brakes trying to steer into that corner, will become an innocent victim of what's happened there.
Yeah, that's going to really hurt his run tonight because he was starting to make some good inroads up throughout the field, but has dropped him down to the back along with Tallianche. So both those guys taking some big hits. And while we wait for that to slow through, Norrie, who are the biggest incidents that we saw so far on that opening lap? We've had quite a few guys up and down throughout the field now.
As we see one happening now with Tromagai, yeah, there's a few guys happening that you saw there with the Borg, Tallianche sort of movements going on. It's a few guys losing ground. Dylan Rudd, probably one of your worst starters, losing 4 positions off the start and having a no contact on that one. So
yeah, I was going to say, this early on, though, with the way the field is as compressed as it is, what are your thoughts on maybe coming in, get an early pit stop out of the way, maybe cycling some of that clean air?
absolutely, that was my tip in the pre-race show. That's my tip now. If you want to get out of this schmozzle, because look, as the hands start spinning, as if you want to get out of this schmozzle of what's going on, you pit early.
That looks like car 16, Rob Bowden now going to get a drive-through penalty to see lap number 3. There's not a lot of laps here, guys, either. We remember there's only 25 laps to get around here tonight. It's a very different race to what we've seen last week in the huge 650-kilometre endurance. So just short 150 Ks, 25 laps. A good opportunity, as Norrie said, and he did talk about earlier, was that maybe do the undercut now, get some fresh air, because plenty of contact happening as they get around. A bit of rubbing is racing. Definitely some liveries getting rubbed off on a lot of tyres at the moment.
Absolutely, and while all this battling is going on, you are going to start falling back. We're already seeing the first 10 cars starting to really extend. Actually, we've got a pretty decent gap from first through to 20th, a little bit of a gap from 21st back, and then a few of the guys now just recovering, working through after the incidents early on. Craig Healy's in the pit lane as well. He's been there for just on a minute now, and that's right at the back of the field, down in 36th position for Type N eSports car.
Yeah, Damien Johnson is down 1 position from where he started, but he's trying to get that back at the... Well, sorry, Bailey Frid's trying to catch up to him at the moment. You can see Frid making some impressive times there on Johnson, who was pretty quick in the practice session earlier. But Fred, look how close he is at the moment. And not just behind him, too. You've got Christian Smart, who could take advantage of this one. This is where the problems all come together. We're not talking about one car taking over. Too many guys watching the big SVG trying to do the double move, I think, at the moment. And let's just hope they can pull this one off. He's going to get him under brakes on this corner, too. Frid's going to go past Johnson. So he hasn't carried over that practice time, those practice times into the race at the moment. Looks like he's struggling just a little bit as they get around. Another one we're going to need to look at. I'm looking up there. It looks like James Scott and Corey Shepherd have led the field, although Shepherd is catching up on Scott. So something may have happened there. But Jordan Ross, Adam Briggs and Aaron Dodd are all fighting out for 3rd position at the moment, and they are super close together. So there's plenty of battles going on up and down the field at the moment. Damien Johnson, you can see on screen. Frid just gone past him, and Christian Smart now is trying to do the move. So the 2 teammates there from Synergy Sim Racing, you think they'd be sharing a lot of data when it comes to setup, but it looks like it is in the advantage of Christian Smart at the moment.
Yeah, and these guys very evenly paced. When we saw the pace from the car last week out at Watkins Glen, there was not a lot between the Synergy cars there at all. So look for them to work their way through, and the smart thing will be the teammates will be talking over the radios, working out when they can switch positions and not trying to impact their race. A little different to what we saw before from the Pursuit Sim Racing guys, just getting into it a bit. We also did see, while we were watching this, Rob Bowden has now come down the lane to serve that penalty that he got. But further back here, there is a lot going on as the guys work out their way out of turn 7.
Well, the Dakota Sim Sports car now. He's just opened up a nice little bit of a gap there for Jaden Borg. He's got a little bit of fresh air, which is what he's been looking for. We've got some netcode going on there in the background, which could be causing our issues, and that's Rob Harris, the Mach 5 entry. You can't see him, but he's coming and going. Borg now slides it out. Oh, there you go. Harris is gone. He's literally gone.
That's unfortunate for him. It's the number 13 not paying dividends for him there. We do have all the race control, so potentially they will investigate something there, but we'll wait and see how that one unfolds. But that will let these guys settle into a rhythm now. Just see a little bit of a lock up there as the guys working their way through. This is a good battle here up in 6th position at the moment. Dylan Rudd trying to come back after that earlier slowdown that he received on that one.
Looking at Tom Freer in front as well. I mean, they've come into a little bit of pace here, the Synergy Sim Racing guys. We said with the new build of the car, once they get their heads around, you know, they're at boiling point. They just need to get their head around the new setup and watch for them. He's just in front at the moment. He is up 4 positions, Tom Freer, from his qualifying. Dylan Rudd just behind him now. He got pushed back after a slowdown, so unfortunately he is 4 positions back. The NSR eSports car, but look for Dylan Rudd here to try and put a move on Tom Freer. He's going to need to get it done really, really quickly though, because otherwise the tyres are going to be terrible here. We check out the replay though. Oh, this is live. No, we're just heading back down into the field here. Wade Sheedy now is right in the battle. No, sideways. The camera curse. Wow, he pulls that up before the fence. I don't know how he did that. And he was in a sea of cars too. It was lucky Jaden Borg all around him. Everyone, that they didn't really come into a big incident there and cause an issue there. You can see Jamie Dyke in Fisher Motorsports car in the number 80 here, just chasing up on Greg Sharp, the Dakota Sim Sports car. Jaden Borg just in front, another one of the Dakota cars. So the team's staying together for the Dakota Sim Sport boys. Just behind him, though, behind Dyke, you can see there's Barron, Brunt, Maguire. Oh, now looks like Maguire. Barron's moved up, actually. Barron just gone by. Look, we're getting too wide now. We're starting to tussle again.
Yeah, it's interesting now. We're only 6 laps into this event, but we're already seeing some guys starting to struggle a little bit with getting power down. There's a good shot there at Troy Maguire, just struggling to get the grip and drive off turn 7 that he needed. Almost come under attack there from Matthew Brunt just behind. So keep an eye on that one. We switch from that battle further up the field now. Neil Pearson and Stephen Varga really getting into it as they head up back onto the old section here. Come back, switch off from the tarmac in towards Indianapolis, and this is a good little scrap for these guys down in 16th position.
It worries me when you see them come down the transition of different track surfaces, and they're hard under brakes. To see Varga there, the late braking on that one always worries me. You've got to hold your breath for just a second. And there's that Team Hyperdrive behind too, so it's all happening here. Darren McKenzie, and he's way up the field. He's up 6 positions. Norrie, how's the teammate going without you in the driver's seat?
A lot better, obviously. He's at least in the top 20.
Oh, he's getting around too. It doesn't look like too much damage on that car too. Nice, keeping that nice and clean. Hims now, we get on board with him. As you can see him come around. Oh, just in front. Who was that?
Brenton Hobson going dirt tracking down off turn 1 there. He's pulled it up nicely, but he will get a bit of dirt on the tyres. That'll hurt his run just a fraction here.
Yep, regroup Hobson. You're doing well. You're in 10th position at the moment. Unfortunately, you are down 1 position from where you started. Thomas Hims a nice little advantage. If he can get right under that wing, maybe he can get around and make a bit of a challenge on him there at the moment. It looks like maybe just starting to struggle a bit for Hobson there with the tyre wear. As we get a move done here, it looks like Rudd is going to get it over Tom Freer. Tom Freer's managed to hold him out for about a lap and a half since we last checked in with there. But Rudd definitely has the speed at the moment, the 990 car from NSR eSports. And his teammate just in front, Aaron Dodd, in position number 5. So they'll need to watch out for that one. They won't want that any contact if they can sort of make that gap up at the moment. So that's going to be a good one to watch. He's got 2.5 seconds to catch up with his teammates. You can see Tom Freer right behind. Not wanting to give this up because right behind him is Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, Dyson having a very quiet run there. And he's going to have a good opportunity as you see the back end again stepping out for Tom Freer. Tom's just going to have to settle it down. We saw the fantastic fight that he was able to put on last week all over the back of James Scott. He needs to find that mindset now and start moving forward.
Suggests to me Tom's probably started on the wrong pressures to be that slipping this early in the race, because you saw it there with Rudd, and Rudd caught Tom consecutively over each lap, and he's still sliding, battling Dyson. So this could be bad omen for Freer for this starting stint.
Well, at that point, then you come in early. I mean, we were talking about clean air now. There's Freer taking the opportunity to come in and put some tyres on, so we can see the back half of this race. Dyson's going to be pretty pressure on. We won't lose too many more positions. 25 laps in a 950k sprint race. It's all happening here, all thanks to Jinx Shifters on the AOSC 10. Race 184. We're on board now with Andrew Dyson, the Simrings.com DPR entry. He's chasing down Tom Freer, looking for that position. Position number 7 he wants. He's in P8 at the moment, Dyson. Just has a look, puts it wide, see if we do the undercut inside here. We're not going to get through this section of the race. Here we go, puts a nose in, contact's made. Freer pushed out wide. I have to see if we can
redress that. He's already backed it up, and he's got to be cautious because there's 2 other Synergy cars lining up to have a run here while he tries to set this one straight. But Hobson and Freer all getting amongst it, so keep an eye on these guys settling themselves back down. And Hims is in the middle of this too.
Well, Hims is probably the one taking advantage, though. I mean, if you're Tom Freer and you see your teammates there, you know that they get the opportunity to go past as well. Now Hims is going to get a position up on here over Brenton Hobson. So Tom Freer stays in front of Kyle Stokes as well. Wow, here we go. They're all. Well, Dyson now has the moves. Dyson gets back in front of Freer. Let's see if he much cleaner move this time and makes it there. So he's redressed and got back onto it. Now it's just a sea of Synergy Sim Racing. You go Tom Freer in 8th, Kyle Stokes in 9th, 10th place Brenton Hobson. So 3 Synergy Sim Racing guys all together. Thomas Hims on the back of that, looking to part the ways and see if we can find any sort of space between these 3 cars and make a couple of moves, because he's got Bailey Frid behind him, who's been super fast at the start of this race. Damien Johnson behind him, Christian Smart. They're all lining up, and it's all to make their way into the top 10.
Yeah, it's very easy for these guys to start tripping over themselves. I'll just have to keep an eye on that as they work through, probably considering those pit stop options and where they'd come in. I think they might have left the run a bit late if they're going to try the early move, because any pit stop now will put you right into contention with the back markers as they're still cycling their way through in towards Le Mans, and we're already now on the front straight. So might have to play that one out a little bit later. We should also have a quick look up at the leaders as well. Ben Scott and Corey Shepherd still continuing their fight. They've really started to check out now. 6-second gap over Jordan Ross.
Hobson is your first pitter, boys.
So he's taking your advice, coming a little bit early. Think maybe out at the top of the field, get some fresh air. That'll be interesting to see how he goes. I mean, James Scott and Corey Shepherd, like you say, almost 6 seconds out in front, but Corey Shepherd and James Scott now a little bit of a tussle. They are under 1 second between them, so they've got a little bit going on. We go back to Jordan Ross and Aaron Dodd and Adam Briggs now. Look like they're going to be close to the rock. So the top 5 now, all compacted, from P3 to P6, all within a couple of seconds of each other. So interesting there. But the battle's on here. Hims now does a big dive on the inside. Can he make it? He's on the outside of this corner though. That's not what he wants.
He did want to pull that up.
Frid now, look at him. He's all over the side of him as well. So he's let Frid into this.
Hobson's dropped back on track, 33rd.
Yeah, let's see once we get everyone in from this side. Super interesting to see where that ends up. But I'm looking at Bailey Frid now, all over the back of him, so we'll bring him up on screen. Frid just needs to hold out here, because we know that Hims is going to get a little bit impatient, I think, with the Synergy boys in front. And it'll be interesting to see whether now's a good time for Frid to pick, because he can do the undercut as well. Because if he gets past Hims, the Synergy boys are going to put the elbows out, and they're going to be hard to get past that wall of Synergy cars.
Absolutely. And the other big talking point too we're going to have to consider as well, we're now very late in the afternoon. We're potentially going to have a nighttime finish here, and for these sort of cars and the lack of visibility and track lighting, that's really going to be interesting to see how they negotiate that. So they're going to want to try and get as many moves sorted while there's still that little bit of daylight left on the circuit.
So Bailey Frid just outside the top 10 at the moment in P11. You can see him here, the big track racer on the side. He is getting around, all thanks to Pursuit Sim Racing, chasing down Thomas Hims. Oh, Dyson's in the pits. So Dyson is in the pits as well. I can see is that Damien Johnson as well has come in. So they're starting to make their input into the pits. We'll let you jump in, Norrie, in a second when they come out of the pits. Let us know where they end up. Talianches looks like he's going to make another move now after that incident a bit earlier on. Can he get the job done? Trying to get past Jamie Dyke. Dyke makes a little bit of room for him. Talianches on the inside with the tyres hold on as they head back onto the main straight. Looks like a little Talianches may get this move done, but with that run around the outside for Dyke, he's got a good run down to the first corner. He's on the inside line.
Yeah, Dyson's, it's going to be hard for Talianches not having the grip. You just see a little bit of a jink mid-corner there. That's throwing him out wide, and just had to regroup and not avoid the dirt there. So that dropped him a little bit back, 7/10 now difference as a result of that. So just got to pick those moments of when you can get through there.
Well, we're just hearing that Hobson has actually come out on a little bit of traffic there. As you can see him up on screen now. So Brendan Hobson did the early pit stop looking for the clean air, but now he's in a bit of traffic. You'll be hoping that they are going to start to pit. Just in front of him is Damien Johnson, who has done the pit as well. So he's managed to. They're down the back of the pack. You see him in 30 and 31 for Johnson and Hobson, but they have pitted already. So we're waiting to see as cars are starting to come. Just look at some of the sector times. Corey Shepherd's just done the fastest first sector of the race. He is closing that gap up to James Scott every lap, just by hundredths of a second.
Yeah, not much in it at all between these guys. I mean, they've really checked out from third place at the moment. Here's a look at the time that Corey's been able to take out of him. He's been quick over laps 6, 7, 5 and 8. Lost a little bit through the mid laps there. We'll keep an eye on this one as he checks across the line, but he's definitely coming. He's found another 1/10 of a second here as they get up over the line, actually 2/10 of a second. So Corey's tyres really starting to come into their own.
James Scott's going to have to be careful. We know him. Maybe he's a little bit of fuel saving, or maybe he's just getting around. He's pretty confident out there. We looked at the times earlier, and Shepherd was only 1/10 off him when it came into qualifying. As everyone's starting to head in the pits now, so we've got a sea of people coming to the pits. Nori, who have we got?
You've got McKenzie, you've got Varga, you've got Reese Keane. Who haven't you got? Christian Smart, Todd Pins, Greg Sharp. There's a flurry of activity here at the minute.
Ryan Borg's another one now who, with all those people coming in the pits, he is back up into 13th position. But we'll have to find out exactly what happens with him, because I don't believe he has pitted yet. So we'll be watching him to see exactly what happens. But back up to 13 for Borgie after that unfortunate incident where he just got caught up with Talianchis. Talianchis got knocked and nowhere to go, and Borgie just happened to be there to break the barrier, really, to stop him from running into the wall. And Borgie ended up in there, unfortunately for him. But we'll get on board with Jaden Borg at the moment. The Dakota Sim Sport up in P11. Has not pitted yet, but that's all right. He's just leading them out. Behind him, you got Michael Barron. Brian Borg is the next car back. You can see the 017, and behind Borgie is Troy McGuire. So this is 11 to 14 on your screen at the moment.
The first of the drivers who have pitted is Aaron Dodd in 20th. Sorry, not Aaron Dodd. Andrew Dyson, 20th. Sorry, Dan.
No, quite all right. And we're just having a quick look there. Just this guy's working out a 7th as well. Thomas Inns came in the pits and has actually managed to get out in front of Brenton Hobson. So that's positional gain for him there when all these pit stops have cycled through. So very good job for him. He's got Johnson now and Hobson right in behind. They're going to set their sights further forward. Seeing to a purple sector for Andrew Dice at sector 2. That's a great run for him there, 22.2 through that sector.
We just saw it on screen before. Dyson had to watch out because Brunt actually had a lock up in front of him. But now he's got the move done. Just give that Sheedy going off in the background now too.
Again.
So Dyson goes past him as well, and they'll follow through now. Aaron Dodd's going to come through too in the 737, of course. All thanks to NSRE Sports, all on fresh tyres. Sheedy, I'm just having a look at the CV. It doesn't look like he has. So the fresh tyres coming through. These guys mostly were in the top 10. They've taken the different pit stop strategies, a few laps between them, and that's why we see him come back out. As we check out the replay now, Jaden Borg there just holding on. Oh, sorry, Barron. Sorry, it's Barron there. Brian Borg does a bit of a move here. Oh, contact again for Brian Borg.
He nearly got the double turn there.
Do you reckon we should put the number 13 on Brian Borg's car? Because he has been super unlucky recently.
I wouldn't worry about the 13. Get him a target, because he might need that one. But while we were watching that little exchange unfold as well, Corey Shepherd has come through the lane as well to complete his stop from second place and rejoins now down in 9th position. He's got plenty of room ahead of him, so keep an eye on the laps as he's able to do. The next car up the road is down in turn 10 at the moment, so it's a very big space for him to work his magic.
James Scott comes around as he reacts to this and pull into the pit. So the number one is coming down the back straight. He's got one more big turn to do down at the Sunset Bend. Will he take the pits this time? This is going to be interesting now. He knows Shepherd's gone in. What does he do? Jordan Ross, they had a big gap out to Jordan Ross. It's blown out to 7.6 seconds at the moment. So probably not going to be an issue here, but you think James Scott will have to react to this one. His crew chief will be telling him, what does he do? He's in the pit.
Yeah, I think that's what he had to do here too, because we're already seeing Corey with a purple second sector out on those fresh tyres. So he's hustling this car, trying to make the time up. Jordan Ross, Dylan Rudd now also in the lane for their stops tonight.
James Scott also not using his pit limiter until now.
Interesting. Corey Shepherd definitely on a qualifying lap at the moment. He'll be pushing ridiculously hard in this car at the moment. I'm just trying to have a look at the sector time. Sector 2 has gone purple on this lap. So sector 2 is purple at 22.12. 7 sectors, around this track. So it is a fairly long one to get around, 5.95 kilometres. It is, because they go around.
Going to lose this.
James Scott is going to lose it to Corey Shepherd as he's exiting lane now.
Oh, they're close.
Anything could happen here. Scott's now on the race line, but Shepherd's got the pace. Scott, though, on fresh tyres. Shepherd's done a lap on his. They'll be getting up to temperature now. Scott, though, on the racing line, I think he may hold out on this one, though, but we thought Shepherd was going to get it. Interesting, Norrie, that you said he didn't use much pit limiter. You know, with how close these guys are in the race, and knowing that Shepherd's done a little bit of the undercut there, not to use every little bit of an advantage as possible.
There is a small advantage going out of that, so I'd be surprised to see if the rule was adjudicate on that in the race, but it's something I've picked up on, so it's something they should have picked up on as well.
And I mean, that's pretty evident too. When you look down at the transit times as well, there's 0.6 of a second difference between Scott and Shepherd there. Admittedly, Scott did have 0.3 longer pit stop stationary time too, so it's interesting that the gap came down to absolutely nothing when they came out of the lane there.
Well, there's Mr. Sheedy, though. He's had a couple of offs tonight. He's struggled on this track, as I know I have when I've done some laps earlier today. So it's going to be Dyke, though. It's going to put a little bit of pressure on him. Jamie Dyke on the outside. Sheedy, though, holds on to this position. It looks like he's going to stay in that P15. He's up 8 spots at the moment with a couple of cars who have pitted. He has not gone in yet, though, Sheedy. So wait for him to pit and we'll find out exactly where he ends up. Who's that pushing through in the background? Looks like Vaughan. Bradley Vaughan now trying to push through in the Pursuit Sim Racing entry, the 100. He has come out on fresh tyres from a recent pit stop, so that is why he is pushing hard last lap. What's the move here on Sheedy?
And Pearson pitting from the lead, so it will cleanse the field.
Oh, well, let's watch for the rejoin and see how it all ends up. So Jordan Ross has done his pit as well. He's back out in the Synergy Sim Racing car. Adam Briggs in 4th. Dylan Rudd in 7th, but well, sorry, he's actually going to be in 5th. We think that this starts to happen. Just having a look, and the 080 getting a drive-through penalty, which is that Mr. Dyke? That is Jamie Dyke from 080 getting a drive-through penalty for causing a collision there. So unfortunately for him, we'll put him back. As you can see, the guys start to get back into their positions now, their real positions after we've had the pit stop now as Freer rejoins us back out in P7. So he's up 3 positions at the moment. And in front of him, you've got Aaron Dodd, NSR Esports entry in 6th place.
And while we're watching these guys now complete those stops, we'll notice there the lights are on the cars, the sun continuing to set, so we're not too far off getting into the dark territory here, which will be interesting to see how these guys start to navigate it, because it will make this track a little bit more difficult. Big defend down in towards 7, and a nice move there from Dylan Rudd, just places the car, actually sorry, it's Aaron Dodd, places the car very nicely there to hold off Tom Freer, who gets a good run on the exit, almost makes that move stick.
Shunt there as they go around, making a bit of room for each other, I suppose, but Freer's not going to give up on this one. You can see him hard under brakes, man. It's a big shunt there into the rear spoiler. I'm not quite sure what happened under brakes there for Dodd, but now he is moving back in the field. Freer, I think, is trying to readdress this, but that's going to hurt Freer as well. As Damien Johnson goes by now, Kyle Stokes went by as well just before that. So that's going to hurt both of them. Check out the replays you can see on screen here. Freer comes down. Oh, lock up there on the front too.
Yeah, and for Freer there, it's a bit of a hard one to get away from, because he moved a little bit under brakes trying to get in behind. I think he was expecting Dodd to come back over towards the racing line there, which didn't eventuate. And as a result, we've seen what's happened, and no doubt we'll see Race Control have a look at that one. But this is a great little fight here too between Hobson and Hinds, working their way off Lamar, getting back up to it. Aaron Dodd coming back into position up ahead. Will we see Hobson get one down the inside? He might be able to grab 2 spots here as they work their way in towards Sunset Bend. They're 3 wide on the entry.
You need to stay on the inside line. It's a little bit rough when you get out wide there too, so you really need to watch that one. It looks like now Dodd is just moving back in the pack and letting everyone go through. Hobson it is in at 10 minutes. Hinds, Christian Smart. Those 3 all bunched up at the moment, fighting for this position, which is P10, just trying to win here. As we go through our top 10 at the moment, you can see James Scott in the lead, Corey Shepherd in 2nd, Jordan Ross in 3rd, Adam Briggs in 4th, Dylan Rudd in 5, Kyle Stokes 6th, Tom Freer in 7th, Damien Johnson 8, Bailey Frid 9, 10 is Brenton Hobson that we can see up on screen at the moment. He's got Thomas Hinds right behind him, Christian Smart also lined up, and Aaron Dodd, we had a little bit of an altercation with Tom Freer on the previous lap. He has dropped all the way back now to 13th position, but just holding off on the back of this pack.
And to add insult to injury, 707 just got asked to let 737 back by. So that's the records on your screen, and that's what's happened. Unfortunate for Todd, because he's dropped a few places out of that one.
And while we continue...
No daylight between them too either. Check this out. Vaughan is not going to leave any daylight between him and Dodd. But Freer looks like he's going to get the move done the outside. Sorry, Dan.
No, I was going to say, while we're watching this battle, Norrie, we might need to send you off to have a look and see what's happened to Andrew Dyson as well. We missed that completely, and thanks to the YouTube chat for pointing that one out. He's fallen well down the field, still in the lane, down in 34th position at the moment.
Copy, have a look.
Got our pit lane reporter, Mr. Norrie. He's going to get out there. We love what he does. He does plenty of work for us here.
Yeah, does a fantastic job. We'll have to see how that one unfolded because I'm not sure what happened there. We've still got Scott Weston, Type N Esports car down in the lane, just coming back out now. He's going to have to be cautious not to go a lap down as our leading two work their way down in towards turn one. The battles in the midfield are absolutely spectacular at the moment. Again, some too wide running in towards Sunset Bend here. And will we see a car up the inside? I think that was Vaughan trying to get one down the inside there.
Hinder's going to hurt on this. He's on the outside. Smart's having a look. Hobson's just in front of him. Tom Freer just sitting in the background. Now he's back on a charge. He had to do a slowdown there and readdress the Aaron Dodd situation early. He got straight back past him though. He's definitely got the speed on and starting to push. We've seen Freer very impressive the last few rounds, and it looks like the Synergy guys really have a setup. Who's that in the background? Is that Bradley Vaughan? Or Reece Keane maybe in the back? I think it might be Bradley Vaughan in the background. Looks like he's gone really wide. Trying to see if he moves back in the field. Doesn't look like it, but nice little battle going on here, and it all starts with Brenton Hobson in P9 is where it's at. So Brenton Hobson P9, that is Thomas Hinds, Christian Smart and Tom Freer in the 707. That's a little 4-car train. Just behind him is Aaron Dodd with a little bit of a gap. Bradley Vaughan you can see just a little bit further back again.
Yeah,
Lock up there for Dodd. We're going to have a replay and find out what happened to Andrew Dyson, but that's not looking good, Dan, because that's no bonnet on that car. A lot of repairs to be done.
Yeah, not sure where that's unfolded. I would assume potentially down in Sunset Bend, but that's a massive hit. He has been able to get the car back out and rejoin. 6.5 minute pit stop time for him there. Unfortunately, that's a big one, and it's a little further back to see if this is the telltale of what happened. He's got some guys in front and just gets collected on the way through down the back straight there. And that was, I think, one of the Type N cars involved in that. He did a good job to pull it up and not find his way back on the circuit.
Yeah.
Amount of damage, and you got to thank Nick there for going back through the footage and finding that for us, because that explains a lot, doesn't it, Norrie?
It sure does. It's not often you see one of those Simbriggs DPR cars bent up at the front like that, and it'll be unfortunate for Dyson. Sitting so highly in the championship, he'll drop a few positions from this race as not being a higher finisher, so unfortunate for Dyson tonight.
Well, we are on lap 17 of 25, well and truly past the halfway mark, and everyone's been in for a bit now. Watch the tyre degradation. We need to keep an eye on that. Like you were talking about earlier, Tom Freer maybe had a bit too much pressure on his tyres. Seen him sliding around earlier on, but he seems to have got a handle on this one. It's starting to speed up there. Just having a look, car 02 now is getting a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. So car 02 getting a drive-through penalty for Darren McKenzie, the team Hyperdrive. Norrie, you are rubbing off on it.
No, I'm not.
You're not giving any points?
I might have left some of the talent in the car.
Oh, look at this battle though, and it is all on still for this P9. At the moment we're with position 10, Thomas Hinds in P10, and off the back is Tom Freer now. Looks like he's going to make a move. Big braking down the inside. Can he get it done? He gets a nose in, and Hinds will drop back, and they make it through the little S's here. That's good though to stay there. You've got to be worried when you come to the inside, you end up on the outside, but Tom Freer with enough there, enough speed to make it through. Dodd now going to push the point as well and try and make a move here.
And he should be able to get that one done rather successfully, but he leaves it a little bit of room there for him to come back in line. It was interesting when we were watching that run down towards 7, just how quick the closing rate was. I thought they might have maybe got into the back there, Brett Hobson, just before he turned in, but those guys really flying on the way down. Dodd going to have a look here. Keep an eye too, Christian Smart is now tucked in right behind Aaron Dodd. He could be looking for a run as they work their way up towards the line.
Yep, Tom Freer now pushing hard though, trying to catch up to Brenton Hobson, see he can get another position. He's back in the top 10, Tom Freer in P10. Good one for him, you know, we see him move back a little bit there. He did have a single dot early and he had to redress that after Dot had dropped back about 3 positions. But he's starting to work that back. The yo-yo is back and going up and down the field, but not really what he wanted to do. He's been fairly impressive tonight. Just hearing that Dyson is back in the pits, and that may be unfortunate for him because he's spending a fair bit of time with a lot of repairs. Earlier being, unfortunately, the target of the spinning car in front of him had nowhere to go. So Dyson, with a lot of repairs to be done on his car, and we'll find out whether he will return to racing. Freer now closing this gap up slightly wider, pushing it a little bit too wide, runs off there, manages to keep it just on the ripple strip. Hinton now will shut that gap up a little bit. Darren Dodd right behind him. So a bit of a reprieve now for Brenton Hobson there. Obviously in the team car, the Synergy Sim Racing car in P9. James Scott and Corey Shepherd now are less than half a second. So they are super close at the moment, up in the lead. And check this out. Corey Shepherd, he's had enough bridesmaids dresses. Time for him to get the golden trophy here. That's what he's looking for. P1. He's had one of them this season so far, but he's looking for a second one. He's going to throw everything at this, I think, to get past James Scott. As James Scott flashing the lights, they are coming up to lap traffic. This is where it could all come unstuck. That's P31 too, I think. Scott Weston, I think, the Taipan eSports car, who is in front of him. So having a look, makes room for him too and lets him by. As we check out the times here, look at some of the difference here from them. As you can see, last couple of laps, Shepherd now putting a little bit of pressure back onto Scott, just heat cycling those tyres. A couple of laps there when Scott gets the advantage, then Corey Shepherd does. Check out a replay though, as Brenton Hobson here. You can see him up on screen. Let's find out what's happened with Brenton Hobson. Looks like he's had a bit of an off track. Goes wide there, Tom Freer, right up on the back, a little bit of contact there, gets him loose. And once he's on the grass, nowhere to go, and the teammates will cause a collision, and the Synergy Sim Racing car of Brenton Hobson now will go back quite a few positions out on the grass, and it'll be interesting to see if he needs to go back and prepare on that one now.
Yeah, we'd expect it probably have to come in because it hit on a fair bit of a shallow angle there. Hopefully it's nothing too major, but it looked like he got a little bit of a walk in the rear. He's just about to tip it in, and that was on that bump that we talked about in the pre-race show there. But once he picked up the dirt, really not much he could do. He almost had it saved, but it's hard when you've got your teammate coming through. It might have been just the slightest of contact between those guys, and ultimately sent Hobson off, who was in for a really good show, but very uncharacteristic run for him there.
Well, just showing those front headlights. I love when they race under night. They can really put those headlights in the side mirrors. Corey Shepherd, the Mr. Antenna car, just gets up. A little bit of games going on there. I know James Scott probably won't be too affected by that. Very experienced when it comes into iRacing and just sim racing in general. So Corey Shepherd, though, looks like he definitely does have the speed. If he can make it happen, he just needs to find that overtaking opportunity. We know Scott's not going to just hand that over. He just needs to get a good run out of one corner, maybe get under that back wing. A lot of curb usage there from Scott. He's taking the risk. Can really come unstuck for him. We did see that last week where he went through the bus stop at Watkins Glen and launched the car. So James Scott is human. He does make mistakes. Let's see if he can hold on to this one. We see Brian Borg now after an unfortunate night. Maybe we can get him sponsored by Target for this. That's what maybe we need to do.
He's not had the best of run out there. It's almost a little bit that's carried off from what we saw at Watkins Glen last week, where he had that uncharacteristic move in towards the tyre barrier going up through the S's there. So it hasn't been a great run for him, but he is fighting his way back, and he's still trying to collect those points. We'll keep an eye on that. Dylan Rudd and Jordan Ross have both had issues. They're falling down the field at the moment, and that's now going to promote Adam Briggs up into third position.
No, not Rossi. Jordan, he is super unlucky this series. We thought maybe it was his night. He was on a bit of a run there in the Synergy Sim Racing car, but unfortunately he has gone back, and now it looks like he's lost another position back to P16. They're all moving back. Just having a look if he's still out there lapping, actually. I'm trying to see if I've got some speed on him, but maybe we have an issue with him. Maybe he has got off. I'm just trying to see as his position goes back on our screen. He's in P21 at the moment. I'm just trying to see if I can find that on track. He's still dropping, but no, he's down the back there. They've spun off. This is your battle day for P1 with 5 laps left in this race. It's Scott and Shepherd. And Shepherd was 1/10 of a second off Scott's qualifying time. He shows it on the inside, puts the lights in the side mirror. They get under brakes. He's going to have to keep his calm here, Shepherd. Wait for his opportunity. But as you know, only 5 laps left in this race.
Yeah, Corey's had a really good chance to have a look at the back of James Scott and try and work out where he's strong. As you can see on the timing boards down the bottom there, he's taken tenths and half tenths out of him each lap. So he's really starting to close right in. If he can get a good run off Lamont down towards the back straight, set himself up for an opportunity in towards Sunset, he's got every chance of maybe being able to take this position. But catching is one thing, passing another for James Scott there.
Start going back in the field a little bit. Looks like Bailey Frid now is up into P5, but the battle was for Damien Johnson. Bradley Bourne has moved up past Thomas Hinton, so he's had the move done as well. That's another one we need to talk about. In the meantime, they've all gone up, and Tom Freer has stayed in P10. So they've had something's happened there as well. We sort of talked from position 6 to 10. Tom Freer is saying 10, maybe he's redressed something there with something coming together. Because so Bradley Bourne gets escalated up to P7 over Thomas Hinton. Thomas Hinton's 8. Christian Smart in 9, Tom Freer in 10, Reece Keane in 11, and Aaron Dodd remains in that 12th position. He's been in for a little bit of time now. We get on board with Mr. Dodd, and it looks like Mr. Keane has gone past him in the Sebring DPR car. But what is surprising to me is to have Tom Freer in 10th when he was in front of all those guys. He was battling it out with Damien Johnson, so he has lost himself. Theoretically, with the other guys dropping out, about 3 positions at the moment for Tom Freer where we expect him to be.
That's a big difference to what we saw last week out where he was supreme in that final stint, trying to get the move done on James Scott there. So a lot of work for him to do. Probably won't hurt him too much in the overall over the championship because there are quite a few guys around him that have had some bad runs tonight. But he's got to minimise that damage. You should also have a look there. Christian Smart and Thomas Hinz have just exchanged places a little further up the field in 8th position as well. So plenty of fights going all the way through here.
Having a little bit of a run as well as we head off to a replay now. Let's have a look at this one. This is on board with Kyle Stokes. So Kyle Stokes in the Triple 8 car. So we're just having a look at him passing Rudd. See exactly what happened to Rudd. Maybe we've got some major netcode. Where are the boys? I hope they're not somewhere down the coast of New South Wales and their internet's flooded. Let's hope that hasn't happened. We've had a little bit of netcode tonight, boys. I think, including with us a bit early, especially with myself. So it's playing up tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it will hold in. We're not that far now from race conclusion here as we see another look at this fight between Neil Pearson and Aaron Dodd. Pearson's actually now managed to cycle his way through. He's got his teammate Reece Keane just ahead. We'll keep an eye on what Dodd's able to do. A little further up, Vaughan and Smart again changing positions in 7th position as well. That's a good fight. We might keep an eye on that as that gap's just started to extend out a little bit now. We duck back here. There's a move for the Synergy guys down the inside. Gets it checked up against Thomas Hinz. Little bit of a touch maybe on the exit. So the guys go 2 by 2 down in towards the old airfield.
Is dropping off. He must have run off the track, I believe, is what we're hearing from race control. He has run off the track and dropped back a number of positions. So Tom Freer gets the move done there, and he's slotted back in front of Reece Keane and Neil Pearson. That's a nice one there for Tom Freer. Give him a bit of a reprieve so he can just get a little bit of clean air without too much pressure on behind. And you can see just in front of those Christian Smart. If we check out the replay, this is exactly what happened. We check out the number 25, Thomas Hinz, under brakes. Bit of pressure there with Christian Smart in the background. Just runs himself wide.
Yeah, he couldn't get it pulled up, and I mean, we've seen that a few times tonight with guys just struggling to get these cars stopped, and he loses a couple of positions in the effort there. We are also hearing too from Matt Farrer in race control that both Jordan Ross and Dylan Rudd both having internet issues and dropping them out of the run. So very disappointing for those guys, unfortunately.
Well, let's hope it's not one ISP causing that, because it's very unfortunate for them on a night where they're finally up there in the top 5 and internet issues causing that is what we are hearing from race control. So super unfortunate for a few guys tonight. Brian Borg's been involved in a number of incidents, although it doesn't look like the net code, just bad luck. We're going to have some sponsorship from Target coming, I believe, in the second half of the championship, maybe what's going to happen. But the DPRSimrigs.com guys here, you can see him up just in front of Aaron Dodd. That's Reece Keane and Neil Pearson. Pearson is the car right in front of him right now. They are just sitting at the back, cycling around. Thomas Hinton just in front of him, just dropped back about 3 positions after out-braking himself and going a little bit wide. We head back to another little battle that's heading at the back here for P17. It's Jaden Borg there in the Dakota Sim Sports car, just holding out Rob Bowden. But Rob Bowden seems to be on the nice line there. Tully Anchich in the background too in the 777 car from Pursuit Sim Racing.
And just a moment ago too, Borg actually just lost a position there to Brian Borg. The Borg's no relation at all. As we see Bowden down the inside into 7. Good move, runs it a little wild. So another guy just struggling to get it checked up. Taliancic collecting the back end there of Brian Borg, Jaden Borg, sorry.
Well, Dan, I know you lent Norrie the Coda Sim Sports car this week. You gave him the old one because you didn't want him to bang it up, but it looks like the boys have done a fair bit of damage this weekend to the Coda Sim Sports cars.
Yeah, look, that's all right. It's to be expected. We didn't want Norrie having all the fun out there, so we gave him the old car, and he did a good job in that for the lap, but the guy's just struggling a little bit further down the field.
There you go, on board with Hins now, who's starting to make up for that little out-braking himself a little bit early and going off track as he gets his position back over Tom Frere, which will move him back into P9. Tom Frere back into P10, so gets back into P9. Tom Frere is still looking uncomfortable on those tyres, Norrie, though. Do you think the same issue, maybe too much tyre pressure?
Yeah, I would have thought that early in the race, but you would have thought after the pit stop you could have fixed that. So maybe he's just having an uncomfortable night. He was super quick in pre-qualifying, but seemed to drop the ball in the race tonight. So interesting to see what's going on with the Synergy.
It almost looked like he lost a tyre there for a second. The lock-up didn't look. I didn't see the puff of smoke or anything, but I'm just wondering the big wiggle under brakes. And now Reece Keane all over the back spoiler of him. Top Frere though does recover in the number 707. All thanks to Synergy Sim Racing, but yeah, looking uncomfortable in the car. Big dive now. Looks like Keane wants to get this move done. Frere gets defensive. No, oh, I don't want to know what's going on there. They both spin out. Frere now spins himself around, and it looks like Keane will go through, but to take advantage of that too is going to be Neil Pearson and Aaron Dodd, who go past both of them. So now Neil Pearson on the top 10, on the bump, and it's Aaron Dodd trying to get in there.
Pearson Dodd still continuing their exchange. We're hearing power outages for both Jordan and Dylan Rudd. It's unfortunate for those guys to be dropped out the way they were. As keeping on that one for Frere, I think he's running just a fraction too much brake, which would explain why that car was as unsettled as it was in the slightly slower mid-speed corners there. Some lap traffic starting to get in the way, and Corey Shepherd just catching him at the wrong time on mid-corner there. Turn 1 extremely quick and not where you want to have a slow car.
Going back another couple of positions at the back of the pack there. Varga and Sharp have just gone past him, so Tom Frere back to P15, unfortunately for him. Looks like he may have made a position back up over Sharp though, so getting a little bit of a battle. Brian Borg in P16, so watch to see if he can get up there. Check out a bit of a replay once again as we check out Frere. This was the earlier one where he came down. And unfortunately, a little bit of, I'm not quite sure if they made contact there or they just end up getting spun around. But yeah, unfortunately for Tom Frere, that's why we see him back in P14. Not having a great night, him and Reece Keane. A little bit of a coming together there, but Keane makes it through. Heading back to our leaders though, it's in lap 24 and 25, so we're getting down to the final moments of this one. Scott's still leading there though in the Logitech G-Autos Esports car. The Commodore, Corey Shepherd now has just dropped back a little bit, so Scott's got a bit of a reprieve at the moment, maybe just chewing up a bit too much tyres, putting all that pressure on a little bit earlier. This is the battle though to get into the top 10 at the moment. Pearson in 10 there in this simrigs.com GPR car. Here you go, Dodd with a big dive down the inside. Aaron Dodd, the NSR car, can't get it done, pulls back in behind the rear spoiler. We'll have to figure out where he's going to make another move. Slides the car out there. Plenty of wheel spin though, exciting those tyres. He gets on the accelerator. There can't be 2 minutes left in the tread they've got at the moment. The tyres are starting to go off. The car's starting to slide around on this track. You can see him careful under braking at the moment there for Dodd. He's going to run out of laps though. Lap 24 at the moment, and these guys are a number of corners back. It looks like our leaders are about to complete this 24th lap and move on to the final lap here.
And just as they tick over their lap, we're just seeing a change of position there with Michael Taliancic getting back through on Jaden Borg after those two had it coming together. A little bit of a redress from Taliancic and get this move done proper there. So he will set himself sights forward. He's got Darren McKenzie in the hyperdrive car just ahead. We'll see whether he can catch him in the final lap. Some Bailey Food with a big lock-up on the run into turn 17 there. That's going to put him under a lot of pressure from Damian Johnson on corner exit.
Yep, it's all happening, and this is the battle for P5. Fred holding out Johnson. Johnson comes down. Fred moves over. He's going to be on the inside of this one, though. Can Johnson do the crisscross? Can he get the line here? They both go wide. Johnson with a nice run. Final lap. Frid just needs to hold on.
And while we keep an eye on this fight here, I'm just watching our two leaders. They've got a little bit of lap traffic just to contend with further up the field, but the gap has sort of stabilised a little bit more now. It's a 1.5 second advantage to James Scott, though.
Yeah, like you say, they're catching up. Looks like they've got one car that's probably going to get in their way. Possibly they will catch, and that's P27 of Dave Douglas in the Mach 1 Esports car. So watch that. But here's the battle for P5 at the moment. Frid in the purple number 5. Number 33 behind him. The JK signs all over the side of Damien Johnson. Can he make this move and get into the top 5? He comes down the inside. Can he get him under brakes? It's hard. He doesn't lock it up, though. Puts it right up, gets past the apex. But the run there, though, for Frid, though, as they go around. Wow, this is a nice little battle. They head down past the tower, the right-hand corner. Here we go. We're going to come down to the final moments of the race. They're heading down the back straight. Heading to the final corner, the Sunset Bend. And your leader, James Scott, in the AOSC Esports car. Sunset Bend it is. Makes it out of here. Nice, clean run. He's opened that gap up on Corey Shepherd. Flash of the lights, and he takes himself another win. And what is that? 7 wins, I believe, in this series so far. Is it 8? That's a huge win rate so far out of 9 rounds here at Sebring. James Scott takes the win. Corey Shepherd in second. Adam Briggs will be in third. Here we go. Frid and Damien Johnson. Who will it be across the finish line? Frid holding out to 5. They come around the final corner. Stokes is going to be in front of him. He's going to take it. Damien Johnson doesn't get the run he wants. I think Frid's going to hold on to P5, make it in there. Stokes finishes 4th. Frid 5, Johnson 6th. There's nothing in that one. 0.001 of a second it's saying in their timing screen, I think that is. That's a huge one. Burnout's already happening in front. That's what I like to see. Vaughan comes across the line now. Thomas Hinds will come around. What a great comeback from him after some incidents there to try and get that home in P9. So Smart gets in front of him. Hinds in 9, Pearson in 10, Dodd in 11, doesn't make that top 10. Then it goes back to Keane, Varga, Freer. It looks like he's going to come around and end up in 14th position. Greg Sharp in the Coda Sim Sports will be the number 1 there for the Coda. He would be in P15. Brian Borg made his way back into 16th position, but something else has happened to him. He's come back with half a car.
He's shedding weight to try and get it home.
It's looking pretty slick at the moment. The Brian Borg car Premier Racing Team will come home to 017. Then it goes back to Rob Bowden in 17th, Craig Anspach in 18th, Darren McKenzie 19, Michael Taliancic will come back in 20th after being involved in a few incidents as well. Jaden Borg in 21, Chris Barnes 22, Wade Sheedy 23, Marty Hanson 24, Matthew Brunt 25, Jamie Dyke is in P26 at the moment. He'll be coming around to try and take this one. So Jamie Dyke looking to come home in P26, and Dave Douglas will be 27. So some unfortunate things tonight, guys. When we look back, we've had netcode. We've already been told that some people have lost power. That's why we've lost them throughout the race, and that was some big contenders. That was Jordan Ross was one of those that got caught up in with no power. So they must be in a very similar part of the state. And it was also who else was that involved in that one? Was it Brendan Hobson as well with the power outage? So something's not going everyone's way tonight, and as we have a look at our finishing results out there at the moment, you can see it's James Scott who will take the win here tonight at Sebring after 25 laps, 150 kilometres. He gets the job done in the Logitech G AOSC Esports. Bridesmaid again, unfortunately, for Corey Shepherd in the Mr. Antenna car, but he gets himself on another podium, takes some valuable points in the championship. Adam Briggs will be in P3 in the simrigs.com DPR car, and we always see one of the DPR cars in 3 or 5. Kyle Stokes in 4th position. That's where he ends up in the Synergy Sim Racing, the top of the Synergy Sim Racing guys. Bailey Frid holds on to 5th position in the Pursuit Sim Racing car by the slimmest of margins over Damien Johnson, who was on a late charge there in P6. In the second of the Synergy Sim Racing cars. Then it's Bradley Vaughan in 7th, Christian Smart in 8th, Thomas Hinds ends up in 9, Neil Pearson rounds out your top 10. Then it goes back to Aaron Dodd in 11, Reese Keane in 12, Stephen Varga in 13, Tom Freer all the way back in 14th, Greg Sharp in 15, up 11 spots, mind you, so a good charge from him. Brian Borg in 16 after not getting the greatest start. He started out of P21, ended up in 16 after a couple of incidents, so not a bad run. Rob Bowden in 17, Craig Anspach in 18, Darren McKenzie Mackenzie in 19. Michael Taliancic having a horror night there in 20th, unfortunately involved in some incidents. Jaden Borg up 8 positions into 21, so another good one from him. Chris Barnes in 22, Wade Sheedy in 23, Marty Hanson in 24, Matthew Brunt in 25, Jamie Dyke in 26th, Dave Douglas in 27th. Now, we keep moving down the field. And some of these guys with some netcode issues and power issues. Scott Weston in 28th, Craig Healy in 29th, Jordan Ross in 30th, Dylan Rudd 31, Andrew Dyson in 32, but we did see him with some huge damage on the car. Brenton Hobson in 33, Troy Maguire in 34, Michael Barron in 35, and of course, Rob Harris was the first of our netcode victims in the unlucky number 13 Mac 1 Esports entry. So a big night, guys. We've got plenty to dissect, and I'm sure we are going to grab a couple of people in for our interviews in just a second. But just having a quick look at the leaderboard there, Neil Pearson made 10 positions to end up P10, so that's a big one from him. Greg Sharp, 11 position gains. He ended up in 15th, so a couple of standouts. Jaden Borg, 8 positions up. Chris Barnes, 9 positions up. You know, some really impressive finishes there for the guys in the midfield.
Yeah, some really strong driving up and down throughout the field tonight, and a lot of positions gained for a few guys out there. Some unfortunate runs for a few guys also getting involved in some big incidents early on, which really a bit of a detriment to some championship contenders at the moment.
Well, James Scott has joined us here in the commentary booth, and a big welcome back to you, mate. We're getting used to talking to you about P1, but it's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's it. There's no better place to be. I was able to grab the pole and lead, I think, almost every lap. But in saying that, Corey had some really good pace tonight, so well done to him.
How did you find the track at Sebring? How was it on the tyres towards the end of the race?
The track was really cold, so we probably didn't see as much tyre wear and drop off as maybe if it was hot. I know Sebring's pretty renowned for being very, very hot if you race sort of in the middle of the day, but luckily this race was a bit cooler. The track's obviously really bumpy, being not built on a old airstrip, I think it is. So yeah, making sure you get good drive off the corners as well is really important.
Yeah, well, you effectively led the race from start to finish. How did you find qualifying? Was it, I mean, you had 1/10 over the rest of the field. That's not a bad way to start things off, just to know you've got that pace.
Yeah, I just think I missed the setup a little bit tonight. Just probably wasn't quite where I wanted it. But in saying that, I can't complain with getting the pole and the win. Qualifying was really tough. Making sure you get a draft, or timing your draft right probably is more like it, to avoid the aero understeer through the mid part of the track, but then getting it down the back straight. Which I was able to get a little bit of a draft, which was good.
Well, it's all going to come down, and we got a big one coming in a couple of weeks' time, actually. So our next one's going to come from Lime Rock. Are you looking forward to that one? Bit of a different track for that one.
Yeah, Lime Rock will be interesting. I do think that we might not be running at Lime Rock. I think it got changed in the schedule. So I think we'll be at Hockenheim.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry about that.
No, you're right. I only read that the other day, so that'll be interesting. A level playing field for everyone. I've only turned about 5 laps when the track came out the other day, so it'll be a pretty good race, I think. The draft, like here, will be probably pretty strong. But I'm not quite sure what layout we're going to be running. So if we run the GP, that'll certainly be interesting in that really tight hairpin.
Well, we'll cover that in the pre-race show. We might actually message you and get a couple of comments for that. But congratulations, get yourself in number 1. And who do you need to thank for tonight?
Obviously all the guys at Altus Esports. We've done some good setup work over the last few weeks. Although in saying that, I think we missed it a little bit tonight, but I don't think it was a long way off, which is a good thing to see. All our great sponsors, we couldn't do without them. With Logitech G, Astro Gaming, Cube Controls, Virtual Racing School, which is really great to have those guys on board. Own 3D, Race Tech Seats, and obviously you guys for the broadcast and the series admin. And just a shout out to Corey and Adam for being on the podium, and unlucky to, I think it was Jordan and Dylan who had a disconnection. So
Yeah, we're hearing
unlucky
power.
for those
We're
guys.
hearing a power outage, so that's unfortunate for them. But yeah, it was a bit of a battle going on. So yeah, mate, thanks for tonight, and we'll see you next round in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there you go. He thought he was just off the setup. What do you think of that, Norrie? Because he was pretty quick.
Yeah, well, it's always good to be that quick, but when you think you're off the setup and to be that dominant, that far in front of the rest of the field, it's a pretty good bad setup.
Well, speaking of someone else who has been dominant in the series so far, Mr. Corey Shepherd joined us here in the commentary booth. Welcome, Corey.
Thanks, guys. That was very tough.
P2 tonight, and what's that, 6 podiums, I believe, so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, super impressive, mate. Unfortunately, James Scott just held out there. How did you go? I noticed the pace dropped off in the last couple of laps. Is that just tyres wearing?
I did have a lapped car I kind of got caught up with at turn 1 with a few laps to go, which kind of caused me a little bit of drama. Got out of the zone a bit and started making a few mistakes of my own. But up to that, I was right with him and looking for a passing opportunity, but I didn't quite have enough pace.
How are you finding the new build of the supercar?
I really like it. I haven't noticed too big of a difference. I'm not sure if that's maybe my setups, but yeah, I don't notice too much, so I'm liking it.
Well, the Mr. Antenna car, super impressive again tonight. And, you know, you were catching James Scott for quite a number of laps. Who do you need to thank?
Of course, I need to thank my sponsor, Mr. Antenna, all the guys at Premier Racing Team, and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
I tell you what, can you just go and talk to Brian for us and tell him he needs to get a big Target sticker put in his car?
Okay.
Yeah, he's had an unfortunate night, your teammate. But congratulations to you. P2, you get the silverware again. We're praying for the day we get to talk to you about P1, but good luck and we'll see you at the next round.
Thanks, guys.
Well, there you go. Super comfortable in the car from Corey Shepherd. That's what we're hearing. And he did look super comfortable in the second half of that race, catching up to James Scott, but just couldn't get the job done. But for the 4th podium this season in P3, getting the bronze is Adam Briggs from the simrigs.com DPR. Welcome, Briggsy.
Hey fellas, how you doing?
Feels like we've spoken to you lots this week.
Yeah, I know we spent a good couple of hours doing the pre-show earlier in the week, but now we got in and had a great race tonight. That's for sure.
Wasn't so fortunate for some of your teammates, but yeah, super impressive for you to get up there. 5 position gain too from the start. Probably helped by a couple of guys had some netcode issues, but yeah, the car feeling good tonight.
Yeah, in race trim it was great. Just need to do a better job in qualifying, but that's okay. I think we're really experimenting with the setup tonight, with a view on creating a better baseline for some other events that are coming up later in the week. So it's a good experience and learnt a lot, which we can apply into the future. That's for sure.
Have any sections of the track tonight? Did you notice the difference in temperature there as the sun went over?
Yeah, the balance of the car shifted. It shifted certainly more frontward as the sun went down. So I was really on the bars, just tuning the car to compensate for the temperature change as the sun went down. So yeah, it was actually quite nice to have a nice sharp car at the end of the race. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely some promising improvements there, isn't there? And you're starting to get a handle on the new build. So that's good to hear. But congratulations on 3rd place tonight. Who do you need to thank?
Yeah, I just need to do a big shout out to obviously Andrew Dyson. He had a shocker of a round, and I don't really think it's any fault of his own. But also, Jordan Ross and Dylan Rudd had internet disconnect issues and really robbed us of a great race. I think it would have been really close right to the end. So just want a quick shout out to those guys. But obviously, AOSC for putting on the race. AOSC TV for the commentary and the great delivery of the broadcast product. And we've also got simrigs.com, Southwell Lifts and Hoist, Benmax Mechanical, BetSmart Racing Services, and NP Designs to thank for the DPR car turning up tonight.
Well, mate, we thank you for turning up, and a 3rd position. You can't be upset about another podium finish. We'll help you in the championship points as well to get yourself back up there a little bit, catch up to your teammate. But good luck in the next round in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much, fellas.
Well, there you go. We need to thank Briggsy for joining us on the pre-race show too this week. It was good to get some feedback on the new build of the car, and we know the guys have been working behind it, and I'm sure we'll catch up with plenty more of the drivers as we go through the rest of the series. But we are 9 rounds done now. We're past halfway, guys.
it's been a hell of a halfway so far, and we're absolutely looking forward to what we've got coming up. There's some great circuits that we've still got yet to venture through so far for this championship.
Well, Nora, I think we're going to have a fair bit to talk about when we do the pre-race show next time, because I've taken a snapshot of where everyone has moved up and down the field, and lots of positions gained by some of the names we probably haven't touched on as much as others.
You're not wrong, Matty. There's a fair few drivers up and down the field that we probably haven't covered as much, but a few other drivers we have. I'm just counting tonight. I've counted 9 incidents and no safety car. So that's another big talking point heading into this pre-show next week. And pre-show when we get round to it, because I think we've got a week off before we're heading to Hockenheim.
Yeah, no, we're going to have Easter off. We're a bit of a break. Let the bunny come and spread some chocolate around. So hopefully everyone's done the right thing. The Easter Bunny will visit them. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, of course, for being on board for another round of the AOSC. Of course, simrigs.com, Sydney Computers, Bowler Media and Sideways Photography, Race Circuit Art Australia, AJ Insurance Services, but our naming rights sponsor, Jinx Shifters, all those fantastic products, Australian made, billet shifters, all your brake bias adjusters, everything there. Go and check out those guys from Jinx Shifters as well. Big shout out to everyone who's joined us on the coverage, all of our viewers out there, everyone who's raced. Thank you for coming along tonight. It's been a big one. It's been Sebring, 150Ks, race 184 of the AOSC 10. We can't wait to do it again in 2 weeks' time. We will speak to you soon.